anytime. I'm so glad you joined me. It is July 6th, and I'm going to talk about my weekend real quick and get to my guests because you know my hour goes fast. Friday, I didn't do too much. I did some shopping. I did some gardening. It was great. Saturday was July 4th. We went to my brother's. We had a celebration for my sister-in-law's birthday. So we had cake. We social distanced in the backyard. It was lovely. And then Sunday was my best friend Betsy, who passed away, her birthday. And for the last 4 years, Grace and I go to her favorite restaurant in Freeport on the Water called Jeremy's Ale House. And we went there on Sunday, and we had a lovely lunch, and it was great. We had a really, really, really good time, and, you know, can't believe she's gone 4 years, but had a great, great, great weekend, all in all. So listen, let me get to my guests because everyone's so excited, and I'm going to introduce you right now to Butch. Patrick is in the house. Hello, Butch. How are you?
Hi, sweetheart. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so glad you're here. I just want to let everyone know, unless they've been hiding under a rock for years, Butch is an actor, and he's also a promoter, and very well known for playing Eddie Munster on the Munsters back in 1964 and 5. You were only on for 2 seasons, right?
Yeah, we came on at the end of September 24th of 64 and went off in June of 66.
And you were 11 and 12 back then when you did the show, right?
I was, yes.
But you were a veteran in acting because you actually started acting when you were 7 years old?
Yep, I did.
And you say that you owe your acting career to your sister. Tell me why.
Back in 1960, my sister she's younger than I am, and they wanted to take some photographs of her to maybe put her in front of some print modeling, maybe, you know, get her in some magazines. Yeah. And I went along for the ride as I was only 7 years old. So at the end of the shoot, the gentleman looked over, and his name was Amos Carr, and he was like the #1 kid photographer in Hollywood. And if you were a kid actor, you had to have an Amos Carr portfolio. Wow. And he took a couple pictures of me. And one of the photos that he liked a lot, he put in the window of his studio on Hollywood Boulevard, and a producer and a director happened to be walking by and noticed it and inquired because they were casting a movie and they were looking for some kids, and they liked my look. They just found me and tracked me down, and I went on an interview. Never had worked before, and they hired me. Said, you got to start somewhere.
Wow.
I got to start somewhere. And it turned out excuse me.
No, I'm just saying, wow, because that's it's one of those fairy tale stories, you know, that you hear.
It turned out to be a really great little 6 weeks because it was Eddie Albert was my dad, and Jane White played my mom, and Super Sales. Brenda Lee was 15 years old. She played my older sister, and yeah, we had a really good little run of it. Plus, it was a fun movie for kids to do because it was called The Two Little Bears, and the premise was that we were obsessed with Halloween and wearing our bear suits, and we got this magic salve from a gypsy, and when we put it on, we turned into bear cubs, and then our voices were dubbed in, and these 2 bears would run around, and so I had 6 weeks of not only working, but I had to play with the bear cubs as well.
Wow, that is so cool. And then your first gig on television was General Hospital?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I got that role the first year General Hospital was on the air, and yeah, it was my first series. I actually had done a few segments of other stuff, but yeah, right around that time, General Hospital, Ben Casey, The Untouchables, Death Valley Days, Rawhide. I did a lot of work in the early 60s for sure. You did a lot of really great shows. General Hospital is one of my favorite shows. I've been watching it since high school, and you played Dr. Hardy's girlfriend's son. Yeah, it was cool. I was on the first episode of General Hospital. It was pretty cool.
That's so cool. It's very cool. And then, the Munsters came along in 1964-65. You did 70 episodes. It was on Thursday night on CBS. Mm-hmm. But the original role was actually portrayed by another child actor named Nate Durman, who was in the pilot episode. Mm-hmm. And then you end up getting it. What stood out about you? They liked your look, and they liked that you were.
Well, it wasn't so much they liked my look. I would have never actually gotten the interview had they not wanted to change the mom and the kid the networks that viewed the pilot had some last minute alterations in mind, and one of them was to change the woman who was Joan Marshall playing Phoebe to bring in Yvonne DiCarlo for the star power, and also have her called Lily. And I was brought in to replace Happy Durman, who they didn't like his take on the character, and they hired me.
And I enjoyed watching you back then, as many others did. I want to know, was there anything on the set as a kid that kind of scared you?
No, not at all.
No, really?
I was pretty much used to most everything, and the fact that you know, when you sort of make movies and television and stuff, you pretty much understand that what you see through the screen and what you actually are physically doing is like opposite ends of the universe, and it's amazing what they do to take what is kind of like a boring day at the set, and you know, you do a couple minutes here and a couple minutes there, and they turn it into a scary movie with a lot of technical expertise.
Well, I remember the first time I saw a spot under the staircase. Like, it kind of startled me a little bit. So I can't imagine you just standing there in front of him.
Then we did our job.
You did. You actually did. So you worked along Fred Gwynne and Yvonne DiCarlo, the beautiful Yvonne DiCarlo, and Al Lewis. And I don't know if everyone remembers this, but there were actually two Marilyns. The first Marilyn was Beverly Owen, and she did 13 episodes. And then Pat Priest came in to do the other 57. And I think she just celebrated her 83rd birthday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I talked to Pat, you know, maybe once or twice a month. But yeah, she's up in Idaho, retired comfortably, and doing very well. Nice.
And out of all the cast members, is it true that you were closest to Yvonne?
No. I met at the end of Yvonne's life, we were friends, but at the actual filming of it, no, I was probably closest to Al Lewis, Grandpa. Although Fred Gwynne, who played Herman, taught me the most about the business, and between the two of them, and actually all of them, they were all very nice to me, and they all had certain things that helped me through a couple of years, because I was actually out there living with my uncle, going to work with a woman that we hired, because my family was living in Washington, D.C. with the...
You were actually flying every week to do the show, right?
Well, I flew back to D.C. a couple times a month, not every week. I was... occasionally I would go back and visit them, but I did hire a woman, and I was living in my uncle's house, and everybody else in my family was back east. And none of them really pursued the acting. Just you, right? Did your sister get into any other? My sister did a little work. My little brothers did a little work, but I pretty much did the lion's share of it.
Yeah. And then, like you said, you also, to put on my glasses for this, in 1966, the show was on for 2 years. And then in 66, you did the film Munster Go Home.
Yes.
And then after that, in 71, 73, you actually played Mark on ABC's Saturday morning series called Lidsville with Charles Nelson Riley and Billy Hayes.
And a cast of dozens of little people in Hollywood.
Yes.
Almost like Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, exactly. So you grew up in California. You went to high school. You went to Gardena. Gardena, is that how you say it?
It's called Gardena.
Gardena High School. And you know, you really stayed in LA most of the time. You were on the West Coast during most of your career, because a lot of the shows you were in were classics, iconic classics. I mean, you were in Ben Casey and Bonanza and My Favorite Martian, Mr. Ed, Rawhide. You had a reoccurring role on The Real McCoys. And you got to work with people like Judy Garland and Burt Lancaster and Sidney Poitier and so many more.
Yeah, I was very lucky. I worked from about 60 to 72, 73 regularly. But in that 13 years, I was lucky enough to do several series, 17 movies. The commercials aren't really listed there. I did about 50 commercials. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was pretty busy considering the short amount of time I was in the industry, and I enjoyed it. But it wasn't a calling; it was more of a temporary job because I really wanted to be a race car driver. I mean, some kids want to be a fireman, some kids want to
Wait,
be.
didn't you also learn how to play bass guitar?
No, that's actually I have a bass and I enjoyed it, but I never was a very good bass player. I never took the time to learn it properly.
Uh-huh.
But we did do Whatever Happened to Eddie. Well, I had two record careers. In 1972, I had a career with Metro Media Records for Bobby Sherman had quit the business with Here Come the Brides, and he had a record career with Metro Media, and they were trying to replace a teeny bop type bubblegum star, and these guys got wind of me being on Lidsville, so they decided that they would try to create me. And I did American Bandstand, and I went on tour, and we attempted to do it, but I couldn't sing. So I like to say I was the original Munster Manili, lip singing my way across the country. And then in 1982, we did, when MTV came on the air, I wrote the lyrics to Whatever Happened to Eddie to the Munsters theme, and then a friend of mine who was a drummer, and he had a friend who had a recording studio, Phil Cohn. They Sound Sorcery. We recorded the video and the music and shot the video, and then that was the first unsigned act ever to be on MTV, which was quite a coup back then, because you used to have a record deal to be able to get any exposure. And so, lucky for us, we did that. And then from that idea, they came up with the Basement Tapes for MTV, which then a lot of groups who didn't have record deals got some exposure, and I'd like to think we helped a few people give them a leg up in their career.
Yeah, that's amazing. Do you follow any horror shows now? I mean, look, between the Munsters and the Addams Family, which were actually on at the same time, it was a scary, family-friendly kind of show. Do you follow any kind of horror stuff today, whether it's on Netflix or like American Horror Stories?
Not a horror genre person. I'm really not. I like the classics, but my sister, I'm staying at her house. She's big into the mystery, horror, thriller genre. So yeah, I'll go see a movie, but I'm not a big fan of the horror genre. No, I've never even seen a Walking Dead. I mean, I like the American Horror Story. That was a pretty good series of shows. I like those. They were pretty good.
Yeah. All right, listen, we're going to take a really quick break, Butch. Don't go anywhere. You guys stay there. We'll be back in 1 minute. Don't go away. More with Butch Patrick. We all get married with no intention to get divorced and want that happily ever after. Unfortunately, 50% of marriages don't survive. Kim Tinsley can help you navigate, negotiate, and mediate your divorce. Please give Kim a call at 516-972-3214. That's 516-972-3214. So where do you want to go tonight?
Are you bored?
Oh my God!
Hold on tight. We're gonna coast us.
Today's show is brought to you in part by Tavolo Kitchen and Pizza, located at 1919 Wantaw Avenue in Wantaw. Hey, there's something for every night of the week. Tuesdays, pasta night. Wine Wednesdays. Friday, live music from 7 to 10. Sunday, brunch. So check them out at 516-308-4892 or www.tavolokitchen.com. They're also on Instagram. They do catering and private parties.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It's tea time. I'm so glad you tuned in tonight on Monday night. Listen, like the show. Like it and share it, okay? Just some quick announcements real quick. Coasters is one of my sponsors, as you just saw, and I just want to say that July 11th, there's going to be karaoke with Dennis, and Jen's going to be celebrating her yoga graduation party that night. The 18th, comedy show produced by Kristen Tinsley. I'll be on that. Make sure you come. And July 21st, open mic is open and back for comics. Just want to say that real quick. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I'm with Butch Patrick, and Butch is known for playing Eddie Munster on the Munsters and went on to do so many more things as far as commercials and movies and TV and music, and he really dabbled in a lot of things. But actually in 2008, did you live on Long Island?
I did.
Can I guess where on Long Island you lived?
I was out there, let me see, 2005. Yeah, but 2006, 7, and 8. Yeah, for a few years I was out in Port Jeff and Setauket.
Oh, nice. Okay. So everyone from Long Island listening and watching right now, I want to give a shout out to Joanne, who's watching in Florida. I've got Captain Splash, Kristen Tinsley, Marianne Maizano from the Italian Chicks. We've got everyone watching. Karen, thank you everyone for tuning in. I know you're very excited. I am too, to have Butch on my show. The Munster coach. Let's talk about the car real quick, because I know you liked being in that. Tell me about the tribute cars that you have.
Well, on the Munster coach, one of the Munsters had very cool stuff. I mean, we had really, between the makeup and the special effects, but we happen to have these George Barris cars, which were just the best. And
George Barris, for those who don't know, George Barris also designed the Batmobile as well as other
George Barris. I'll speak a little bit about George. George was a car customizer in the 50s, Mercuries and this and that, and then he evolved into doing, he was a marketing genius. He was like P.T. Barnum. And what he would do is he then got into movie cars, where in the late 50s, drive-ins were all the rage, and sweater girls and black top this and black top that. So he was involved in supplying movie cars. And in the early 60s, everybody in Hollywood had to have a George Barris custom for their own personal ride. Wow. So he went from customization just for car show people to movies to celebrities. And then he got into the movie cars, from the Munster coach to the Batmobile to Knight Rider to the Black Beauty, all the cars that you see on television. George had a hand in at one time or another. And one of my favorite things to do on the Munsters was to ride in the Munster coach. I'm building the models at home. I'm riding around in Hollywood's coolest car. And then on Wednesday, I would have a little routine that I would do. Is I would get a 90-minute lunch to get an extra 30 minutes. I would then go to my hobby shop to collect either my slot car pieces I had ordered or buy another slot car, because I had a big slot car track. Nice. Those were all the rage in the 60s. And then I would go by George's shop to see what he was up to. And I would get a chance to see him with Sonny and Cher's, Mustangs, or Sinatra's Stutz, or Elvis's Cadillac, or all these great things. And he would let me poke around. And that's where I began my love affair with cars. And after the Munsters was over, I was 12, and mini bikes and go-karts and dirt bikes and so on and so on. But I eventually wanted to own a funny car dragster, because I was hanging around the drag strips when I was 16 and 17. But unfortunately, they were a lot more expensive than I anticipated, and I never really quite had the money to pull that one off. But I'm still to this day a gearhead, and I had 16 years old, I had a Mach 1, and I upgraded to a big block Corvette. And so I've always been around cars, and today, lo and behold, I do tour the country with a Munster coach and I had a Dragula. Before going to Dragula, to open up an escape room in the front of my trailer. So now I go around the country doing automotive events.
That's cool. And I'm sure everybody loves seeing it in person,
Yeah, they do. The Munster coach is very, the Batmobile's cool, but the Munster coach, I can drive down the street, and if I just park it and just wait for people it's like moths around a porch lamp, It's literally, I get bummed out because people aren't watching where they're going, and I'm worried somebody's going to plow into me.
Oh, jeez.
So I don't drive it on the street too often, but I do have a new YouTube channel called Coach to Coast, which I document my travels around the country for my YouTube channel. And next year, I think I'm going to adjust it to where I'm just going to get a big motorhome, and instead of towing my trailer, I'm just going to tow the Munster coach behind a motorhome, and then go into RV parks and do my show about interviewing other people in the RV lifestyle and what has led them to be where they are today, and do it very much like Charles Carroll. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Yes.
He was like the original guy with the RV story back in the day. And I really want to get my YouTube channel going about Americana and stories of other people who have taken to the RV lifestyle.
That's cool. My neighbor's a big into that. Into that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
you
who
all
would
are.
want to be interviewed by Eddie Munster and about their life and right around in the Munster Cup?
Great. Let me ask you a question. Were you able to keep any kind of prop from the show, like maybe the giant baseball bat or Woof Woof the doll? Were you able to keep anything or, kind of sneak something off the set?
I had a suit. My mom, I'd taken a suit home to loan to somebody for Halloween, and she wound up with that somehow. Woof Woof was given to me about 5 years after the show ended, maybe 6 years after the show ended. I was out doing an Ironside at Universal, and the prop man came up and gave me Woof Woof to take home. Unfortunately, I didn't take very good care of him, and he deteriorated down to a head on a stick, which I then sold to a guy who promised to restore him, and then we made aftermarket Woof Woofs as a business to where we sold 93 of them to collectors throughout the 80s and early 90s.
That's
But
cool.
I do have one right now. I have the number 2 doll. I have one that actually has armatures in him, and he's posable. He's the only one in the world like that. So yeah, I do have a Woof Woof doll, and several people have given me their versions of Woof Woofs over the years as well, and I have those.
Right. And just to plug your sister's business, because you also are a promoter. Behind you it says Keys to My Castle. And I went on the website today, and I'm going to tell everyone to please go to keys-to-my-castle.com and check out Butch's sister's website. They vary from inspirational to really blinged out ones and precious stones, and they're beautiful. I love them. They're great.
You know what they're great for is, number one, it's something that everybody can use. Number two, she came up with the idea when we were living with my grandmother. While I was out fishing with my grandfather, she would go to the estate sales because my grandmother was a big antique collector and dealer. So Michelle was always enamored with all these old skeleton keys and how people had these ornate keys to open doors, and how generic today's keys became to open your house is your castle. So she thought, I'm going to make something more special for people other than just having a boring old key. And she opened up her company, and people love them. They're really cool. They actually they're functioning, because if you reach into your purse at night, you fumble through your keys, but if you have one of her keys, you immediately know where your house key is.
Right.
And it actually has a safety factor that it gets you in your door quicker.
And one of her designs is Woof Woof.
Yes, and she has Woof Woof for me. We have a 1313 tombstone. We have a coffin, and then we have Spot. So we have 4 Munster-inspired keys.
That's great. So I'm going to tell everyone, please go to keys-to-my-castle.com. Check them out, because they're beautiful pieces. They really are. Van's right behind you. Beautiful pieces. And how long ago did she start this Keys to My Castle? Can I ask?
I think they're about 7 years now, 7 or 8 years.
Yeah. And I know you were doing some kind of special for June with her. Is that falling into the month of July, or was that only for June?
What was that?
I think it was an autograph or something that came along with the purchase.
Oh yeah. We do that. We can do that through July. Sure.
Are you extending it? I'm just asking.
As long as they make a notation of it and remind me, yes. And it has to be coming. As long as they what? We have to have it. We have to have acknowledgement from your people that they're getting an autograph, so they make notation of it, and that way I can personalize it.
Okay, so if everyone heard that, you go to keys-to-my-castle.com.
Right, and you get a free autograph picture, but you got to make mention of it so I know who to personalize it to.
Right, so for the month of July, Butch will hand sign autograph, and you have to specify who you want the autograph made out to.
Exactly.
That's great. Listen, we're going to take another quick break. Don't go away, Butch. Don't go away, everyone else. We'll be right back after this quick commercial from my sponsors. So where do you want to go tonight?
Why don't we go to Coasters?
Oh, cool. I heard it's a great place. Let's check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Oh my God.
Today's show is brought to you in part by Tavolo Kitchen and Pizza, located at 1919 Wantaw Avenue in Wantaw. Hey, there's something for every night of the week. Tuesdays, pasta night, wine Wednesdays, Friday, live music from 7 to 10, Sunday brunch. So check them out at 516-308-4892 or www.tavolokitchen.com. They're also on Instagram. They do catering and private parties. We all get married with no intention to get divorced and want that happily ever after. Unfortunately, 50% of marriages don't survive. Kim Tinsley can help you navigate, negotiate, and mediate your divorce. Please give Kim a call at 516-972-3214. That's 516-972-3214.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tea Time. I'm so glad you joined me tonight because I have such a special guest. Butch Patrick is in the house. Most of you know him as Eddie Munster. He's gone on to do so many wonderful things. We just went to break, as you know, when we came back, and I just want to say again, Coasters, July 11th, karaoke with Dennis celebrating Jen's yoga graduation party. The 18th comedy show produced by my girl, Kristen Tinsley. And July 21st, open mic is back for comics. Okay, back with Butch.
When do we golf? This is called tea time, isn't it?
I know. And T, well, my friends call me T instead of Teresa.
Oh, I guess I should put my golf clubs away.
You know, it's funny because everyone's like, is it golfing? Is it drinking tea? Blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, no, it's actually, my friends call me T, and we just went with that.
Got it.
And it's stuck. And then, like, it's like, do I change it? Do I keep it? I ended up keeping it. So listen, you had two pivotal moments in your life. The first pivotal moment came when you were 16, and you went to Brazil to do a movie.
Yeah.
And your sister said you left as
Richie Cunningham.
You left as Richie Cunningham and you came back as who?
John Lennon.
John Lennon. What happened in Brazil, Butch?
Well, you know, it's funny how I was talking about her earlier to my sister today about writing. I came up with the idea for my book now, how I'm going to write it, what it's going to be about. It's going to be about, you know, Kevin Bacon has the 6 degrees of separation thing going on. Well, there's a lot of truth to that, how my life and having been Eddie Munster and where it has led me and the connections I've made and how you wind up where you are today. It's very interesting. This is a particular story. I had gotten my license August 2nd, fell in love in May of that year with Diane. She lived up in Hollywood Hills. So here I am 2 months later, I'm in love, then I get my license. So I'm spending all my time up there during the summer when Manson was running amok. And then they landed on the moon at the end of July. My birthday was August 2nd. And then a friend of mine said, hey, I got this interview for this movie in Brazil. Would you please take me to my interview? And I said, sure, Rick. And I drove him to the interview. And when the guy came out of the interview, he saw me sitting waiting for Rick. And he goes, Butch Patrick. And I said, yeah. And he goes, do you got a minute? And I said, yeah, I suppose. I drove him. And, you know, he's not going anywhere without me. Ha, ha, ha. And I went in, and 20 minutes later, I came out, and I got the part that Rick had been called in for, and I just happened to be his ride. So it was just like total happenstance. 3 days later, I'm in Brazil. No teacher, no parent. And all I really had to do with the lead in this, not the lead, I was the third. There was the 2 stars, and then I was the third star in the show. And we did this movie based on a very famous book by a Brazilian writer called Jorge Amado. The Portuguese name is Capitães da Areia, which means captains of the sand. The movie was released as the Sandpit Generals. One thing led to another. But yeah, while I was down there, it was, now you got to remember, this is 1969. The climate was Woodstock, the Summer of Love. It was a whole different world.
Yeah,
and then you take an American kid down to Brazil. We had 4 or 5 American actors tied in with a bunch of Brazilian cast members, tied in with a French camera crew, and then tied in with, I like to make jokes, we had a Chinese caterer. So we had Chinese food, French camera crew, Brazilian crew, and then a few American actors. Yeah. And we did this movie. Now, when I came back, as I said, while I was down there for 3 months, I got pretty much inaugurated into a wild lifestyle.
Right. That's when you introduced.
And I was good at it. And when I came back, I never really wanted to be a movie star anyway. So I found that this party mode that I was in was really cool because everybody enjoyed going to parties, and we all like drinking beer, and we were all smoking weed, and this just happened to be the climate. And I had the money and the means to acquire this stuff, so I became the go-to place to go party.
Right.
Now, and I was into fast cars, and my friends had fast cars, so we were always at the gas station working on our cars, or we were at the beach surfing, and just how things evolved.
Right. So at that time, you basically walked away from Hollywood.
What I did is my priorities changed radically, and I found out that it wasn't a good idea to smoke a joint before you went in on an interview. So I kind of disqualified myself. It was like shooting yourself in the foot. It was stupid, but you can't tell a 17-year-old kid anything.
Yeah.
And then Lidsville came along, and the funny part about it was I still worked pretty regularly, but I just I never really wanted to be a career actor, so it was very easy for me to phase out of it.
Right. And you basically had your demons with alcohol and drugs for many years, and then all of a sudden, another pivotal day for you was November 21st, 2010. Yeah. And that was the day you said, I want to change my life. I don't want to drink anymore. I don't want to do drugs anymore. And I want a clean and sober and better life.
Yeah, I had been tippy-toeing around it. The hangovers were getting worse and worse, and you're getting older. And, I was amazed that I'm still alive, to be honest with you, at 57, to actually be able to go in, and it was, I was pretty lucky. And it was just God's grace or higher power. Or
that's why I say God didn't want you yet. God had a plan. He's got a plan.
What happened was a friend of mine, the guy who was actually best man at my wedding, Chris Wren, he has got like 24 years sobriety. But I would call him every once in a while and I was feeling it out, because that's how the disease works. You start noticing that you don't really want to do it, but it's like you don't know what to do, but you don't want to do this anymore, but you're still. It's a radical change, and change is tough. And one thing led to another. But at November 20th, it's actually November 20th, because it took a day to get to California. But what happened was some friends of mine on Long Island actually called and found. They opened up a Yellow Pages, and they found the treatment center. We decided that I would take it upon myself. It wasn't an intervention. It was more of a meeting of the minds that this would be a good thing, and it's time to do it. And it just so happened that this place called Oasis, he opened up the Yellow Pages, and it just was the first place that he saw. And then when he called them, Jim A., who owned the property, was the original interventionist for A&E. And he had always wanted to take a kid actor and see if he could get him sober. So I was the right guy at the right time in the right place. And the key ingredient was, he says, have you ever been to a rehab center? I said, no. He goes, okay, because a lot of kids go, a lot of Hollywood people go through them like popcorn, they just this is my 12th time through, So I'd never done that. And number two, he sponsored me, because it would have been like $35,000, of which I didn't have it, and I didn't have insurance.
Wow.
So I enrolled, and I wound up doing the work and doing the meetings. And he had this special program where you get like a 9-month program in 90 days, because you're in meetings from 7 in the morning to like 10 at night. And I liked it, and I stuck around for a while, and it's coming up on 10 years in November.
Yeah, it'll be 10 years. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a great thing.
Biggest achievement of I did a lot of good stuff, but this is the biggest achievement, and I like it, and I've helped other people, and it's a good thing. It's a good organization. AA. It's like the Dalai Lama said. AA is the greatest organization that mankind has ever come across in the last ever.
Yeah. You when you lived in New York in around 2008.
Yeah.
Did you write a book with someone called Eddie Munster, aka Butch Patrick? Was there a book around then also?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, that was a book with Helen Darrows. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, she lived in Long Island. That was the reason I was in Long Island. She lived in Long Island, and she was writing the book, and we were traveling around together, and it just seemed easier for me to stay in Long Island for a couple of years during that situation.
Did you like Long Island? Did you like it?
Yes.
You can be honest.
No, I liked it. I liked it. I don't like the winters. It was I'm not a big snow person. But no, it was okay, and I enjoyed it. And I met a lot of nice people there. But no, I'm kind of a West Coast guy, even though I travel all the time.
Yeah. Well, Port Jeff is nice because you're by the water, so that's
Yeah,
nice.
and I went over. I have friends in my muscle car guys are over in Connecticut, so I would take the ferry over there all the time.
Yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. That's great. I just want to thank everyone for watching and tuning in. Grace Matrang is watching. Lisa Greco Tornado is watching. Hello, Nicole. Thank you, everyone, for watching the show. Please like it. Please share it. When it's over, when the show's over, you could start a watch party. That'll be great, too. I'm here with Butch Patrick and Butch. As you know, I mean, how does it feel when people come up to you and they still recognize you after all these years as Eddie Munster?
Well, they don't, and that's the best part about it is they understand. They know the character. If I wear a T-shirt with the Eddie Munster face, they'll look at that. They'll smile. They'll look at me. They don't put two and two together unless you explain it to them, and then they do.
Right.
But the neatest part about it is people say, "Don't you ever get tired of doing this and this and this and this?" And I go, no, I really don't, and here's why. I've said it. If you sat at a table with me for a day and you saw the people that come up, and you shared the stories of how much you meant to them, or it's something they can watch with their kids, that they're happy to share the time, the family values that it instilled that are that is so missing today.
Absolutely.
And you have this extended feel-good family of fans that is multi-generational for the last 50 or 60 years, and everybody loves the show. Everybody has something, get something out of it, whether it was their love of makeup or Halloween, or whether it's the love of making hot rods, or whether they wanted to get into the movie business. Everybody has something good about it, and it's all good, famous. It's all great memories, and that's why I named my book Munster Memories. I kept hearing all this great stuff, and I thought this would make a great book, and then I just added my own spin on it, added a few stories from people that were involved with it. But the book wrote itself from stories.
Wow. So the book is the book complete right now?
Yeah. It came out. I had it come out on September 24th, 2014, 50 years to the day. And
okay, so everyone can find that where can they find that? On Amazon?
My Munsters.com. Munsters.com will be up and running again in about a week. If not, you can get it on Amazon.
Okay, so Amazon and Munsters.com.
Right.
Okay, we're going to take one more quick break, and we'll be back with Butch. Don't go away. Stay right there. You don't want to miss the end of the show.
Okay.
Today's show is brought to you in part by Tavolo Kitchen and Pizza, located at 1919 Wantaw Avenue in Wantaw. Hey, there's something for every night of the week. Tuesdays, pasta night. Wine Wednesdays. Friday, live music from 7 to 10. Sunday, brunch. So check them out at 516-308-4892 or www.tavolokitchen.com. They're also on Instagram. They do catering and private parties. So where do you want to go tonight?
Are you bored?
Oh my God!
Hold on tight. We're gonna coast us.
We all get married with no intention to get divorced and want that happily ever after. Unfortunately, 50% of marriages don't survive. Kim Tinsley can help you navigate, negotiate, and mediate your divorce. Please give Kim a call at 516-972-3214. That's 516-972-3214.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Tea Time. I'm so glad you're joining me tonight because I'm with Butch Patrick, a.k.a. Eddie Munster. What? T, woo! So listen, we talked about your career. We talked about pivotal moments in your life. I want to know what keeps you sober.
Well, it's when I do speaker meetings, and I don't really work a normal program. When the gentleman that got me sober, Jim A., he told me, he says, if I can get you sober, I've been open for 22 years, and I've helped maybe 8,000 people. If you stay sober, you can help 8 million people, or more. So what I do basically is I check some, the one particular site that I see a lot of is called Rockstar Recovery, and I observe and I chime in. But I do a lot of I've done some speaker meetings at the Salvation Army because that's Jim's favorite charity. And the main thing is what keeps me sober is the fact that people can reach out to me and ask. I get a lot of people that have someone in their family that they don't know what to do with, and they don't know the first step. So I'm real big on guiding people into the program or seeking help. I'm pretty good at that. When I got high, it was a whole different world. You know, we used to it was bad weed and beer. You know, today it's a whole different dynamic with the strength of the drugs and the availability of the opiates and stuff.
There's too many people dying. Too many
right.
people dying.
Well, that's the whole thing. Yeah, so that's the main thing with Jim A. He's trying to stop the opiate addiction deaths. So what keeps me sober, honestly, is they say, what's the biggest difference between then and now? And I'll tell you what the biggest difference is. When I would wake up then, I would be broke. I would be puking or having a headache or having been sick. And I would be, the first thing on my mind and my list would be how to get high or get drunk again. And when you're sober, you have money in your pocket and you wake up and every day is a new challenge and you look forward to it because something good's going to happen as opposed to the same old Groundhog Day in a bad way.
Yeah. And you know what? And I know a lot of people listening or watching are really soaking up everything you're saying and taking it to heart and appreciating you being so authentic and honest and putting it out there because there's so many people struggling in silence.
You know something? Here's another thing that I found too, which was really good. I'm coming up with double digits, but when I first got sober, the first year or so, people they don't really know if it's real or not because anybody can sort of get sober. Staying sober is the trick. But as I noticed, I got 3 or 4 years under my belt. I became part of this really cool club of a lot of famous, exciting people who don't get high and they're sober, but they're living wonderful lives. And I thought when I got sober, oh my God, I'll never have fun again. Oh my God, what will I do on New Year's Eve? What will I do at weddings? What will I do? This. And the deal is the coolest, hippest club is the sober club. And there's huge. I mean, you can look at some very interesting people that got sober that were wild then in their day. Back in the day.
And now you actually remember everything you do.
And you remember it, and it's a cool club to be part of. I didn't really go to college. I didn't get in the military. This is my cool club to be part of, and I'm proud to be part of it. I'm happier. I'm healthier. I help people. I stay in I remember things, and it's funny. You could be driving down the street, and if the red lights come on behind you, you don't have to worry about hiding anything. You pull over and you hand him your license and you smile and say, "Give me the breathalyzer. I want it." It's a whole different world.
Well, you've had some run-ins with the law in the past, so yeah. So now
everybody did that. If you can't live for 41 years and partying every day and getting crazy and not running into the law, it just is not. You can't do it. If anybody tells you they didn't, they're lying.
I want to talk about what you're doing now and what you have coming up. I want people to know that if they want a personalized message from you, you're on Cameo.
Yeah.
And they can
Cameo's a lot of fun. And my sister actually had an idea that I probably shouldn't share it because somebody might steal it, but we have another idea that has to do with interacting on the Zoom format. But in 2002 in Orlando, we came up with an idea for 1313 Theater, which was a horror host thing, kind of like we spoke about earlier. And it evolved into a show called Macabre Theater, which is now on Saturday nights on YTA, which is U2 America, with a horror hostess called Ivana Cadaver, who is a friend of mine. And now we're doing the show again, revamping it. So you can catch that on Saturday night. My YouTube channel, Coach to Coast. Next year I'm really big on YouTube now because that's what everybody's watching. It's the new stuff is YouTube product and content. And even the studios and the networks, they don't make pilots like they used to do in the old days. They just watch what's successful on the internet and streaming services, and then they go tap into that.
Right, exactly.
So that's what I'm pretty much doing is my cars, my tour, Coach to Coast, and the Macabre Theater.
But so you're on Cameo. People can find you on Cameo. Yep. They can find you on Facebook. You have the www.munsters.com page. Do you have any upcoming projects? I mean, look, everyone in the entertainment industry right now, we're all put on hold and kind of waking up to a Groundhog Day where, we're the last industry to get back out there. But did you have anything like before COVID hit that you could return to?
What I'm going to be doing is when I had my trailer and my escape room and my car and everything was ready to go, it got shut down. So I've structured, and I'm reaching out to people to help businesses reopen by offering my services to come in and do the promotions and basically doing it for 20% of what a normal fee would be, just to help get people to come back out. Something between lockdown and Disney World, come into a town, show Munsters Go Home. It just came out on Blu-ray. I did the commentary with Rob Zombie. I'm going to be working with David Merlin, who is a wonderful illusionist, and we're going to be doing a theater situation with the screening of the movie, and then he does an hour of illusion and magic, and it's going to be Munsters and Magic. It's going to be great.
Cool. That's cool.
Yeah, and it's going to be fun, and we're going to be going to theaters that are shut down and open them up, social distancing it. Yeah, we have to do 3 shows to do the same amount of people. We don't care. It's all about getting the country back online, and we know that if we do our job, everything will come back, and next year we can come back and get full boat money. But right now, it's about what people can afford and helping out the country.
That's the thing. I see a lot of people out there are trying to do things in either drive-in movie theaters or huge parking lots.
Yeah. No, I just did the first car. I just left town and flew for the first time at a car show and met them, and they had 3,500 people come out, and it was in Wisconsin. It was a beautiful day, and it was big, so it was never crowded. It was people walking around and social distancing and doing it right. But people, the country needs to come back, and this way, I feel I'm doing. That's part of like being in solution. It's like it's when you get sober, you're no longer part of the problem. You're part of the solution, and it's a good place to be.
Right. Absolutely. I totally agree with you. I do. I want to give some more shout outs to Bruno. Hello, Bruno's watching. Munsters and Magic. They're loving the idea, Butch. They're loving the idea. So yeah, you could definitely go get a hold of Butch through Cameo, on Facebook, on www.munsters.com, and you're going to be out there with the with the car, and they can find out on the Munsters.com page where actually you would be touring with it, where they can
I'll have my schedule up. Everything has been, as like everybody, everything's been on hold. I gave up. I had a wonderful a working trip to Spain we couldn't do, and
wow,
a lot of things. Well, it'll come around next year. It's just put on hold. But I'm a road warrior. I drive. I do 52 weeks a year. So for me to my trailer's in Atlanta, my truck's in Raleigh. I came out for a visit. 3 days later, the country shut down, and I can't wait to get back on the road. And Dave Merlin, who I'll be touring with, he was asking me about a theater. I said we should do something together, and he loved the idea. He's working on a magic illusion right now, featuring the coffin phone booth from the Munsters, to where I'll grab someone out of the audience and we'll take her aside and dress her up like Marilyn, put a blonde wig on her and a polka dot dress. She becomes part of the act, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to have a great.
That's great. Yeah, the audience loves when you pull them in and they, participate and become part of the show. They love that.
But it's just amazing. I tell people sometimes that a lot of times people will say, will kids know the Munsters? I know the Munsters, but will they? And I go, believe me. Trust me on this.
It's playing now. It's on Cozy TV now. Anyone can watch it.
You're going to be pleasantly surprised with the response you'll get. Trust me on this one. I know it. I live it. You're going to have a bunch of smiling faces, and you're going to have people come out, because there's nothing more satisfying than like someone to be able to turn their kids onto it. The kids like it, and now they have something they can all watch together, and they can all share a good laugh of the good old days that so many people long for them.
Yeah, because you were part of so many iconic shows back then. You were in Gunsmoke. You were on the Monkees, right? You were on Adam 12.
Yeah, the Christmas show too. That was a good one.
You had a reoccurring role as Gordon Deering in My Three Sons.
I did 8 episodes. Yeah.
I mean, these all look. I'm a little younger than you, but these are shows that most of us grew up watching. So it's and like you said, it was fun family shows that you can watch together. I miss them. I miss these types of shows.
Everybody does. That's why nostalgia channels do so well. There's a lot of them, and they all do well. People want Western channels and nostalgia channels are big.
Yes, Absolutely. Did you hang out? I know you did several Disney films also, but when you were younger, did you ever hang out with other kid actors?
Only at work. I lived about 20 miles away. I was very much a separate world. I left my town. I went to work. I came back and hung out with my friends, and that's kind of the way I liked it. And
Yeah.
then again, back in the day, there weren't a lot of, parties to go. I mean, there weren't any industry parties when you were a kid. And
Yeah,
by the time I
yeah.
was 16, I was already phasing out of the business as opposed to moving back into it. So no,
Yeah.
I'm friends with a lot of
Yeah.
them. I mean, I have a lot of friends in the industry, but we didn't hang around together as kids.
Right, as kids. Now as an adult.
As adults, yeah, Bill Mooney's one of my best buddies. But in fact, they wanted Bill Mooney for the Munsters, but he turned it down because his mom didn't like the idea of him being in makeup.
Wow.
Then he went on to do Lost in Space, so it worked out well for everybody.
Yeah. Another show that I grew up watching. Oh, it's like taking a walk down memory lane. It really is. Such great shows. I Dream of Jeannie, Death Valley. I mean, just the list goes on and on and on. I mean, it was, an amazing career. And I just feel like, God has a plan and everything happens the way it's supposed to happen, Butch. And I'm just first of all, I'm so blessed. And I want to personally say thank you for coming on my show.
You're welcome. No problem.
And I'm glad you had fun, and it means the world to me. It really does, because you said yes, and that made me happy. And you could have said no, but you didn't. So I do want to tell you that I do appreciate you taking the time to spend with me, my viewers and my listeners. You're taking them back to a time of innocence when we were all kids, and I think that's what makes it so special. There aren't too many things today that give you that feeling. Come on, let's face it.
Well, I'm a big, huge believer that you never know what's around the corner, and people like to hear and they like to share fond memories. We're all in lockdown, so why not get out there and share some love with people.
Well, you know what? Again, we have about a minute left, and I just want to again tell everyone: find Butch on Cameo, find him on Facebook, find him on www.monsters.com. Go to Amazon, and you can find Munster Memories on Amazon also. There's just so much. God bless you. God bless you. I mean that. I truly mean that. Just keep doing what you're doing, because you're bringing smiles to so many people, and including mine.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just want to thank you. Thank you, Butch Patrick, for doing this for me. I know everyone out there is loving this. You can come back anytime you want. You have anything to promote or anything you want to talk about, you're always
I'll
invited.
come see you in person when I get to Long Island.
Hey, listen, I would love that, Butch. I really would. So I just want to thank everyone for tuning in. I want to thank Butch for being my guest tonight. And I'll see everyone next week. Stay safe. Ciao.
Bye.